Yes.
Hi everyone, this is Didi.
And I am Fred. And this is our 36-foot floating home sunshine.
Join us as we go sailing.
So, folks, just more adventure, right? Now, I'm a pretty inventive and creative type guy. Pretty good at synthesizing things, you know. Taking bits and pieces and reassembling them to come up with a device that serves an unrelated function that the bits and pieces would not normally be used for. But I sure as heck have not gotten enough materials aboard to make anything closely resembling an auxiliary rudder. I do know how to get the boat to balance pretty well under sail, and there are various ways to use sheet to tiller, or sheet to wheel in this case, to get the boat to self-steer. The biggest problem I have is that I don't have any surgical tubing, which I do have a bunch of bungee, but it's not quite the same as surgical tubing. But in a pinch, bungees would work. I'm not too sure about doing sheet to tiller to the wheel, but since the sails are bigger and the forces are greater, it's pretty easy to rig up a fool's purchase. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's a nautical term. To increase the amount of movement in the tail end of a tackle. But you got to have the power to be able to pull in the wrong end of the tackle. Which would, like I said, with a boat this size, using either the main sheet or head sail sheet usually provides adequate power to do that. I guess I'll find out. Right now we're still just loping along with the trysail, making about 250, and the course is about 220. And like I said, I really can't get the boat to point up much more into the wind and keep it moving because of the sea state. And as I alluded to earlier, I got a last-minute forecast again for this area just before we left. And the stronger wind is going to stay in this area a little later than original forecast. So I was kind of counting from maybe noon today on through the afternoon that the wind would be decreasing. But my last video shot from Windy shows that at noon today in this area the wind is still fairly strong, up in that 25 and 30 knot range. So we'll just have to keep going the way we're going. We are making westing and some southing, not as much as I'd like. If the weather does go fairly calm again, and I can get the boat to point farther south, we'll go for that, even if I have to use the motor assist. The trick, of course, is then possibly the onerous chore of having to hand steer for a certain portion of the rest of the trip, or maybe a significant portion of the rest of the trip, at least until we get to Mayotte. Now, I don't know if any of you folks follow any of the other sailing channels out there. There's a number of them that I like, that I've watched a lot of their stuff. One is a Danish guy, Mads. He's got a boat called Athena. And this guy is a computer programmer type and very meticulous in the work that he does. He basically rebuilt the whole damn boat. Spent 5 years doing it. got a girlfriend, got married, and they're out now and somewhere in the Caribbean. Anyway, when he was in Spain, I believe, the one thing he hadn't gotten yet was a wind vane. He did have an autopilot. And he found a company somewhere in Europe that manufactures, sells, an auxiliary rudder wind vane similar to an auto helm. And I do believe he said it was 2,200. That might have been euros, not dollars, which would be about $2,500 US. Well, the auto helm is about $5,000. So way out of my price range. I mean, I built my whole wind vane system, including the auxiliary rudder, for under $1,000. And hell, it got me from Florida this far. I've had to make some modifications to it in that period of time, but it performed quite well. I was very happy with it. I don't think I'm going to be able to replicate anything in Miami. I'm not sure what kind of materials will be available there, or that I really want to spend the time, because it's fairly labor intensive to laminate up a new rudder, shape it, cover it with fiberglass and epoxy, and I don't know about getting the materials, stainless, to replicate all the stuff that I had on that is now drifting off somewhere in the ocean. Oh boy, how fun. Anyway, such is life, huh? Such is life.